Hi, everyone. They might not have known it at the time, but they were fighting for their lives. That's right. After an entire parsha about Kedusha, of the people, the Kohanim, yeah, but also about the nation and of time itself, the holidays, and even the time we work in between. After a reminder not to make a Chilul Hashem, a desecration of Hashem's name, but rather to create an environment of Kiddush Hashem, of sanctifying Hashem's name, we tell the story of the fight that led to the Mekalel, the one who cursed Hashem. The Torah doesn't begin with a tremendous amount of detail in the lead up to the story. That's left to a few headlines. As the Torah states, Vayetzei ben Isha Yisraelis v'hu ben Ish Mitzri b'soch b'nei Yisrael. The son of an Israelite woman and an Egyptian man left the court, having argued that he should be considered a Yisraeli. Vayinatzuba machaneh. The son of the Israelite woman and the Israelite man quarreled regarding the camp. Ben ha-Yisraelis v'ish ha-Yisraeli. And while the fight stirred the entire neighborhood, it didn't get stopped until one of them went too far, cursing Hashem in the process. You know the ultimate end of the story. That man is jailed and ultimately receives the death penalty for his insolence. Forget about the punishment for a moment. The Torah describes a crime. What exactly motivated the crime? What was it that led to the man to curse Hashem in so serious and public a way? Was he out of his mind? And if so, how could he receive the death penalty? What exactly happened over here? The issue, it seems to come back to one of stale bread. Rashi cites a sifra that offers a variety of opinions about what the fight might have been about. And while Rav Levi and a certain Brisa are cited with the opinion that he was out of his world and couldn't find a place to belong, having been denied a spot among the Shvatim, both sides noting that he could not recognize his place, it's the third option, that of Rav Berechia, that seems most odd. Rav Berechia explains, Mi parsha shelamala yatsa. He came out from that previous pasuk. Ligleg v'amar. He mocked and he said, by biyom Shabbos yarchenu, we're told that the lechem apanim, the showbreads, every day on Shabbos, every Shabbos day, Kohen has to come ahead and arrange it. Derech hamelech lachol paschama b'chol yom. The individual in question reasoned, a king usually eats warm, fresh bread daily. Shema pastonena shel tisha yamim bitmiya. Is it then proper for Hashem to be given cold 9-day-old bread? It makes no sense. That's right. He had been in the daily shir of Moshe Rabbeinu that morning and heard about the lechem apanim, as mentioned in the previous section of our parsha, which were baked the previous Friday, placed on the shulchan on the previous Shabbos, and then taken off the week later and consumed. And so he noted that a real king eats fresh bread every single day. So how can Hashem be given bread that's stale? And so he cursed. Well, why would he assume that the bread would go stale? Don't Chazal tell us that it was common knowledge that lechem apanim remained fresh and so encouraging that the Olei Regalim would be shown the bread by the Kohanim to demonstrate Hashem's love for us? Re'u ched vaschem lifnei hamakom, the Gemara describes in Yuma. Re'u chipaschem lifnei hamakom. So why would he assume that the bread and the message would be stale? And while we're at it, the other two answers in the Sifra seem connected. That he came from being out of his world, or that he was out of his place within the Jewish camp. This middle expression seems out of left field. Does one really curse because bread's a little bit stale? Or is there perhaps a deeper connection? The great Rav Shmuel Brazil explained that the staleness issue was not one of the bread, but rather of the person. He notes that this is the meaning of lechem hapanim, the bread of the face. You see, according to Rabbi Brazil, the lechem hapanim reflected the person's outlook on himself. Or if he or she saw himself as old and stale, then that's what he would see in the bread. But if he saw his life's mission advancing, and not done yet, then there was more for him to do when he was serving Hashem, that too would be reflected in the lechem hapanim. And allow me to add, this was the message to the Olei Regalim as well. Yes, the Kohanim recognize, you all toil hard all year long. You set off the proper maestros, the proper tithes and the gifts too. And now you're here demonstrating that even the most mundane can be sanctified. Ru'u, take a look. Hashem loves you for it. He still sees a freshness in the relationship. Aliyah L'Regel, as we know, is anchored in different stages in the agricultural cycle of the year. We're in the primarily farming society, we join with Hashem, and the results of their work would be brought to Yerushalayim to be shared with Hashem. It refreshed the people. It gave them purpose and mission as well. But when one is so embittered and sees no purpose in himself, then he or she becomes stale. And so is his or her relationship with Hashem. And in that manner, Rabbi Berechia's answer dovetails the others in the Sifra. The Makal couldn't find a meaning or a place in life. Others suggested that he was out of place or couldn't find a place and that's what led him to curse Hashem. But Rabbi Berechia suggests that the problem was not in the place, but rather that he couldn't find himself. And so, sensing hopelessness and worthlessness, he cursed his life and the one who created and guided it, Hashem, in the process. The young Jewish nation had many similar challenges of finding themselves in the face of adversity. Right after they crossed the Yam Suf, they couldn't drink the waters in Mara ki morim heim because they became bitter. And bitter people don't see solutions, as we've noted at other times, due to their inability to move forward. And when they sent the Meraglim, the spies, into the land of Israel, they received a bad report. That we saw ourselves as grasshoppers in front of the people around us, and that's how we were perceived, and they cried all night, and we pay for it every year. Rashi notes, and Rav Aaron Soloveitchik dramatically once said to us, if you think you are a grasshopper, then you are a grasshopper. It's a question of perception and willingness not to give up and be stale and irrelevant. I think that message is especially important today as we celebrate Lag BaOmer. Not really mentioned in the Gemara as a Yantif, Lag BaOmer's celebration has been the subject of a lot of discussion among the commentaries. In fact, one of the most popular suggestions is that on Lag BaOmer, the students of Rabbi Akiva who died during this period stopped dying, or at least the plagues temporarily ceased on this day. But why celebrate a stoppage when the plague took 24,000 lives of great people before it stopped? And basing himself on a medrash, Rav Chaim Kanievsky noted that it was on Lag BaOmer that Rabbi Akiva resumed studying with a new crop of students in the south. And as the medrash continues, Umalu kol Eretz Yisrael Torah, they filled the land of Israel with Torah. Rabbi Akiva didn't allow his life's mission to go stale. He faced the challenge of beginning anew, and he was not stale about it. When we consider a life challenge, whether it be one of the Lechem Apanim's freshness or where to be and belong, we would do ourselves right to remain focused on the issue, but being aware of ourselves at the same time. Feeling stale is not about the facts of life. It's about the perspective that we choose. Do we choose a life of chadshus, of inner refreshing renewal? Or do we allow bitterness to close the doors to our own potential? The Lechem Apanim was never stale. It only looked that way to someone who lost his panim, his own face, his own identity. The Makalel had no place because he saw no future with his face. Lag BaOmer tells us otherwise. Rabbi Akiva, the ultimate optimist, taught, start again, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. If you do, you will not only create a Kiddush Hashem, sanctify Hashem's name, you'll discover your own name within the process. Wishing you and yours a Shabbat Shalom and a Shabbat Shalom to all.